Actually, my ex was bigger. My wife's words cut through the laughter at the dinner table like a knife. Everyone around us laughed, thinking she was just making a silly joke. But I didn't laugh. I sat there silently, staring at the woman I had loved for years, wondering how someone could casually compare their husband to another man in front of everyone. Then something happened that made the entire room go quiet. Her best friend Sophie suddenly stood up, walked toward me, and said, "That's not true. Your husband is the best." Before anyone could understand what was happening, she kissed me. My wife's smile disappeared instantly. The confidence she had moments earlier vanished, replaced by shock and fear. She had no idea that her little joke would expose a truth that would change everything between us. ***. My name is Ethan, and before that night, I thought my marriage with Claire was stronger than anything. Claire and I had been married for 7 years. From the outside, people thought we were the perfect couple. We traveled together, hosted dinners for friends, and always appeared happy in front of others. But behind closed doors, things had slowly started changing. Claire became more critical of me, especially whenever we talked about my confidence or personality. She would make small comments disguised as jokes, but those jokes always seemed to target my weaknesses. At first, I ignored them because I believed every marriage had playful teasing. But over time, the jokes became more hurtful. She started bringing up her ex-husband, Ryan, more often than I expected. She would mention how confident he was, how adventurous he was, and how people admired him. Whenever I told her those comments bothered me, she would laugh and say, "Relax, Ethan. You're too sensitive." I tried to convince myself she didn't mean anything by it. I wanted to believe my wife still respected me. But that party changed everything. The night of the party was supposed to be a fun evening with friends. Claire spent hours getting ready, and I was actually excited because I thought we were finally reconnecting after months of feeling distant. When we arrived, everyone greeted us warmly. The night started normally with conversations, music, and laughter. Then someone brought up old relationships, and the conversation turned toward past experiences. I noticed Claire becoming more animated. She loved talking about stories from before we met. At first, I smiled and listened. I didn't want to be the jealous husband. But then she looked at me with a playful grin and said, "Honestly, Ethan, you know what? My ex was bigger." The table immediately erupted in laughter. Some people laughed because they thought it was harmless. Others looked uncomfortable. I forced a smile, but inside I felt embarrassed. It wasn't just the comment itself. It was the fact that my wife felt comfortable humiliating me in front of everyone. I looked around the table and noticed something important. Everyone was waiting to see how I would react. They expected me to laugh it off or pretend it didn't bother me. Claire seemed proud of herself, enjoying the attention she was getting. She leaned back in her chair with a satisfied smile, clearly believing she had made the funniest joke of the night. I took a sip of my drink and stayed quiet. But before I could respond, Sophie, Claire's best friend, suddenly spoke up. She looked directly at Claire and said, "That's not true." The laughter stopped. Claire turned toward her, confused. Sophie continued, "You know exactly what kind of husband Ethan is. He treats you better than anyone ever has." Nobody knew what to say. Then Sophie looked at me and added, "You deserve someone who appreciates you." Claire's expression changed instantly. The person who had been laughing moments earlier was now sitting silently, realizing she had pushed things too far. The room became uncomfortable after Sophie's words. Everyone could feel that the joke had crossed a line. Claire tried to laugh it off and said, "Oh, come on, Sophie. We're just joking." But Sophie didn't smile. She looked disappointed. She told Claire that there was a difference between a joke and intentionally embarrassing someone you claim to love. I sat there quietly, trying to process everything happening around me. I wasn't shocked that Sophie defended me. I was shocked that my own wife needed someone else to remind her to respect me. After the party ended, Claire barely spoke during the drive home. She kept looking at me as if she was waiting for me to get angry. But I didn't. When we arrived home, she finally asked, "Are you really upset about what I said?" I looked at her and replied, "It's not one sentence that hurt me, Claire. It's everything that sentence represented." For the first time, she realized the problem was much deeper than a simple joke. That night, Claire and I had the most honest conversation we had shared in months. I told her that I had slowly felt disrespected for a long time. The jokes about her ex, the comparisons, and the way she dismissed my feelings had made me feel like I was constantly trying to prove my worth. She became quiet because she knew I was right. She admitted that she had become careless with her words and that she enjoyed getting attention from people when she made those comments. But I told her that a marriage should never be a place where one person gains confidence by making the other person feel smaller. Claire apologized, but I also told her something important. Apologies only matter when behavior changes afterward. She needed to understand that respect was not something a person should have to beg for. It should already exist between two people who love each other. That night, we both realized our marriage had problems that we could no longer ignore. Over the next few weeks, Claire worked hard to rebuild the trust that had been damaged. She stopped making comparisons and started paying attention to how her words affected me. We went to counseling and talked about things we had avoided for years. I also admitted that I had become too quiet in our relationship. Instead of explaining how hurt I was, I often buried my feelings because I wanted to avoid conflict. That silence allowed small problems to become bigger ones. We both learned that a strong marriage isn't built by pretending everything is perfect. It's built by having difficult conversations before resentment takes over. As for Sophie, she apologized for how everything happened at the party. She admitted she reacted emotionally because she hated seeing someone she cared about being embarrassed. But the incident had already revealed something important. Sometimes a single moment can expose problems that have been hidden for years. Claire finally understood that respect and love must exist together. Looking back at that night, I don't remember the joke as the thing that changed my marriage. I remember it as the moment we finally stopped pretending everything was fine. Claire's comment hurt, but it also forced us to confront the distance that had been growing between us. I learned that words have power, especially when they come from someone you love. A stranger's insult might hurt for a moment, but a careless comment from your partner can leave a much deeper mark. Claire and I chose to work through our problems, but it required honesty, effort, and real change from both of us. I never wanted revenge. I never wanted to embarrass her the way I felt embarrassed. I only wanted the same thing every person deserves in a relationship: respect. That night taught me a valuable lesson. Love is not just about staying together. It's about making sure the person beside you feels valued, appreciated, and protected. Because once respect disappears, even love can start falling apart.